What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back for some more Fire Emblem heroes. So this is going to be my Forma building guide for this month's Hall of Forms, featuring Winter Nino, Winter Jaffar, Summer Ursula, and Winter Zephiel. So I'll be analyzing these units if they are worth your Forma Soul or not, especially if you're a free-to-play player. And even if you're not and you're buying a Forma Soul, it's still extremely important to get the bang for your buck on these Forma units. So I'll be going over the best skills that you can run on them if you're trying to redeem them. If you have any kind of doubt about Forma Souls or Hall of Forms, you can check out the video in the description, as it is going to be a very comprehensive guide. And I always make these videos for Hall of Forms every single month, so if you do enjoy these and want to see them every month, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. And with that said, let us begin. Before I go over the Forma units, I just want to give a heads up that this Hall of Forms is going to be having skills, including up to the recent Bridal Banner, which had Bright Katria and also had Zealot as a Grail unit. So let us begin with our first unit, Winter Jaffar. So Jaffar is a really popular character and Winter Jaffar is a Grail unit. So investing into him with Hall of Forms means that you can get a lot of the expensive skills, like save skills for example, and also save the Grails if you're trying to plus and merge him. As a one-off copy, Winter Jaffar is not going to be the best unit, but if you're investing into him with plus and merges, or if you already have plus and merge and you want to get some premium skills, then this could be a good option. Winter Jaffar is a green armor dagger unit and he's one of the faster armor units with base 37 speed, which is pretty good, but overall the green color kind of holds him back as a tank, as you'll see later on. He can function as a pretty decent unit, but unfortunately compared to someone like Winter Felix, who's a recent range armor unit as well, Winter Jaffar doesn't have as many good inheritable options. Like Winter Felix has got Reindeer Bow, Spendthrift Bow, Plagian Bow, all of these really good weapons. But for daggers, we don't really have that kind of defensive daggers in general, so that kind of holds back Jaffar's overall tanking potential, so that is kind of unfortunate. Unfortunately for Jaffar, the green color definitely holds him back as a far save armor unit, because there are a lot of red threats which are going to be making his life really miserable. Like Duo Liv for example will always kill him, and there's also Legendary Lilina and also Duo Byleth, so the green color can be really annoying as a far save unit, as there are those prominent threats present in the metagame pretty much every other match if you're going to be playing at higher level. So he's only worth going for if you're investing into him for plus and merge, or if you already have him at plus and merge. So let's go over the best skills that you could use on him. Broadly Fan is a very strong weapon that you can definitely pick up, and it will give you better damage output depending on the debuffs. If not, then Caltroop Dagger is also a pretty good option, and I'll explain why it is a good option. The first build which you're seeing is a pretty universally useful build that can work in most of the game modes, like for the in-game content, for arena, as well as for ether raids. So this is overall a pretty solid build. An opponent's buff neutralization can be a very powerful tool, so Distant Defense 4 is really good for that. Special Fighter is overall a pretty nice option on any kind of fast armor unit, so that's definitely a pretty good option. And his best slotsy option by far is going to be AR Far Save. So definitely try to get that, because this is an extremely rare skill and it is really good on Winter Jaffar and his best slotsy skill. So the first build, like I said, is universally useful, but if you want to specialize him for Ether Raid's offense usage, then the second build is really good. So it will give you the cavalry effective damage, and that is good because Ether Raid's offense, especially in the light season, is going to be having a lot of cavalry units with note. So Caltroop Dagger pretty much allows you to get one-shots on a lot of units with Special Fighter and Ruptured Sky, and the effective damage can be really helpful. Attack Res Unity is really good option with this because it gives you extra attack and also extra bulk. This is definitely a more offensive build, focusing on one-shotting units instead of surviving them. If you want to focus on surviving, then the third build is a good option for you. So it is going to be using Slick Fighter and Slot B, which is going to be able to deal with the debuffs, and Distant Defense 4 is going to be giving you that amazing bulk and also the buff neutralization on the enemy. And you can run this with Broadly Fan, or you can even go with Goody Boot Plus. The reason being is that Goody Boot is the only defensive dagger that we have in the game. All of the other daggers are pretty offensive for the most part, but still try to pick up Broadly Fan because Goody Boot is present on Winter Cecilia. So this is the defensive route, maximizing Jaffar's bulk if you want to use him in Ether Raid's offense. So there are also some other options if you want to run. Like for example, if you want to utilize the speed, then you can definitely go with Attack Speed Ideal in Slot A and have Windsweep after you get the Forma unit, of course, because Windsweep is easily available on Joshua in the Grail pool. So from the Forma unit, you want to get Special Fighter because it's a rare skill. So this can pretty much allow you to have the Windsweep effect with Courtly Fan. So he's going to be able to attack with Windsweep without getting counter-attacked because he's going to be pretty fast. And that is really good synergy with an ideal skill because it does require you to be at full HP. So that could be done to basically use him in player phase more and utilize his speed. And attack speed ideal can be helpful if you want to go that route. And then there are some other options that you can use in Ether 8's offense as well. Like you can use Mirror Stance 3 if you want to get the guard effect and have that extra attack and resistance and pair it up with Slick Fighter. Again, a cavalry effective dagger is going to be helpful in one-shots. And you can also go with Attack Res Unity and Crafty Fighter as a combo for getting the debuff neutralization as well as the guard effect. So Special Fighter for the most part is going to be his preferred slot B skill, but stuff like Slick Fighter and Crafty Fighter can also be an option. Even though it's pretty fast, the additional effect out of these fighter skills like the debuff neutralization and the guard effect is especially very useful in Ether 8's offense in my opinion. Before you commit to far save for Ether 8's offense usage, I have calculated some matchups, some common matchups that you're going to be facing. So you really want to see how he does before you commit. So this is going to be helping you arrive at your own conclusion by making an informed decision, seeing these simulations and the calculations which I've done. So this is a far save Jaffar in the light season. And it is the light season because it is the harder of the two because of Note and her, degenerate Pathfinder shenanigans that she opens up. And here are some of the common range units which are going to be facing with her. And Jaffar here is used with a quad mythic setup, which is definitely optimal with a far save unit. And he's running Goody Boot Plus. So Goody Boot is going to be giving you extra bulk. And that is the best part because you want to have as high of a bulk as you possibly can with your far save unit, because you're going to be taking hits from many units. Don't look at these matchups in vacuum. Expect to run into a lot of these units together and you will have to face the barrage of attacks from all of them. So you want to make sure that the far save unit can sustain and can take hits from multiple threats. You don't really get to choose who gets to attack you and who doesn't get to attack you. Because if you're going to be far saving your other allies, then the units can definitely overlap their range. And that's why Mystic Boost is a really good Sacred Seal to maintain that sustainability and getting that healing, and not to mention also disabling the Wrathful Staff of the annoying healers. And speaking of healers, many of them are going to be running Flash, so at times you're going to get shut down and you still want to take the hit and then you want to kill them next turn. So Winter Jaffar's performance isn't all that good because he's just absolutely wiped off from the face of the earth by Dual Lift. And trust me, despite Dual Lift being a seasonal unit, you're pretty much going to be seeing him every other match in Vault of Heaven. I pretty much face him every other match in my runs, so he's going to be extremely common and he's going to destroy Winter Jaffar. Even someone like, Dancer Sigurd, who's also extremely common, can chunk him for a good amount of HP just because of the fact that he's red. Selina's still going to be annoying because of her wind sweep. Reinhardt is just a pushover with Winter Jaffar. Surprisingly, actually, Winter Jaffar lives Ledrin Lilina, but he almost dies if he takes the AoE damage. So try to prevent the AoE damage going off on, your Winter Jaffar and play it a bit safe. And even a +1 merge Bramimont will bring him down quite low. So again, don't look at these matchups in vacuum. A lot of these units are going to be having overlapping ranges and will attack you all at once. So you really want to have high bulk and take less damage as possible. So green color definitely holds him back here because Dual Lift is such a menace. And if you want to go with the Caltroop dagger build, which is definitely an option because there are not a lot of defensive daggers, so you might as well focus on one-shotting these annoying cavalry units before they follow up on you. Dual Lift will still survive the effective damage because of his red color and his bulk, so that can be annoying. So that is my calculations regarding a far saved Winter Jaffar for Ether 8's offense usage. Winter Nino is another armor unit present in this Hall of Forms, and she's actually a really fast armor unit. She's a blue mage armor and she's got 41 base speed, which is really high, and she pretty much has not a lot of bulk, especially on her defense, and her resistance is quite workable as a far save armor unit. And surprisingly, even at unmerged, Winter Nino is actually going to be performing better as a far save unit than a +10 merged Winter Jaffar, as you'll see later down the line. So she doesn't have the most amount of bulk for a far save unit, especially the defense, so it could be annoying at times when you're going to be facing dagger units and bow units, which are going to be hitting pretty hard. But if you're a fan of Winter Nino, then this could be a good option to get her. I really like Nino, as you guys know, so I'm probably going to try to get her. But overall, as a one-off copy, she's not the best unit because of her low bulk. And unless you're really desperate to have some kind of mage armor unit with far save, you should probably not go for the one-off copy because it's not going to be easy to merge her up. And she has low bulk, so that could be annoying at times. So these are the best builds that you can go for her. Flora Guide is a lot more rare because it's present on a seasonal unit. Packed Blooms, on the other hand, is present on Valentine Veronica, but if you want to save some grails and feathers, then it could be obtained because that is going to be her best weapon in many of the builds. So with Flora Guide Plus, you can definitely try to go with attack speed ideal. And like I said in Winter Jaffar's section, it's kind of similar to Nino. You can basically use her to function in both phases as a fast armor unit and run Special Fighter, which is going to be really good skill for her. And again, her best slotsy skill is going to be Far Save, so you should definitely try to get that. And you can pretty much use her in both phases by utilizing her speed. You can even run Packed Blooms Plus if you want to, because it will give you the self-healing, which has really good synergy with Special Fighter and also the ideal skill. And again, now let's specialize her for Ether Raid's offense if you want to use her as a Far Save tank. If you want to maximize her tanking potential, then you definitely want to go with Distant Defense 4. That's pretty much going to be her best slotted skill for tanking purpose. And then have Crafty Fighter. Even though Nino is fast, Crafty Fighter is going to be giving you that guard effect against a lot faster units which are going to be there. And again, you want to have Far Save and have Distant Defense Sacred Seal. Packed Blooms Plus is basically going to be the best weapon for this because of its in-combat debuff, and it's actually better than her Tan and Bit essentially. So it is a pretty good weapon, definitely try to have that. And the second build is basically the best Winter Nino tank build that you can make, and I'll be going over the calculations later on. And you can also run Slick Fighter if you want to get rid of the debuffs, but keep in mind you're not going to be getting the guard effect like Crafty Fighter. And finally, if you want to run Attack Res Unity, then that's an option with Special Fighter, and this can even be used outside of Ether Raids in general because it is going to be making her a bit more tanky, and the Unity effect is going to be really helpful whenever you're going to be facing those debuffs. So now let's go over our calculations regarding unmerged Forma Winter Nino against common threats in the light season if you are going to be using her as a Far Save unit. So she actually does a better job than Winter Jaffar because she takes less damage from many of these units, as you can see. She deals with Bramimond a lot better, she deals with Dual Lift a lot better, and there are not really too many green threats. Winter Bernadetta and Gunther are going to be two main ones, but they're still not going to be that common compared to these other ranged threats. So even at unmerged she can be decent, but still she takes a lot of damage from many of these units, and the low defense is going to be super annoying against Firesweep Bow Cavaliers, which I've not shown here because, I mean, she literally does nothing against them. She cannot damage them back, but those are going to be super annoying whenever you're going to be facing them, and you're definitely going to be facing a lot of them. So someone like Firesweep Wrath or Python are going to be a huge pain for her, and those are really common Cavaliers. So her lower defense is going to be holding her back, but the fact that she can get pretty bulky on the magical side can help you tank a lot of the magical threats, and blue color is not the worst one for taking on a lot of these range units as a Far Save unit. Next up, we've got Summer Ursula showing up in winter in her swimsuit. So you can actually have a +1 Summer Ursula because this month we also have Summer Ursula available as an ephemera unit. So if you decide to get the former Ursula, definitely try to merge her up. The +1 merge is definitely pretty nice. So overall, she's going to be a really nice Dagger Cavalier. We don't have too many of those. Summer Mia is definitely the main one who's going to be giving competition to a lot of these. Her offensive stat spread is actually not that bad, and she can function with a lot of really good player face builds. I mean, she does have good fodder, but not the best base kit that she can utilize. So for her weapon, the three best weapons for her are going to be Quarterly Fan, Broadleaf Fan, and Pumpkin and Box. So for the general content, Quarterly Fan is going to be a really good option because you can run Wind Sweep on her, and with that you can attack and double and not really get counter-attacked. But keep in mind that Wind Sweep is available on Joshua and the Grail Pool, so no need of going for that in the Hall of Forms. Instead, try to get Attack Defense Far Trace. So this is the first time this Far Trace skill is available in Hall of Forms, and it is going to be a really good option to just pick up from Hall of Forms. So try to get that. And for slots, you basically want to run some kind of smoke skill. Fatal Smoke or Panic Smoke are two good options, and Fatal Smoke is a lot rare, so you can definitely try to get that. And Attack Speed Cats is also a rare skill. It does work out pretty well with her innate debuff from her dagger, so it can be a really good option for slot A. And you can also run Broadleaf Fan for higher damage output, and you can go with something like Attack Speed Push 4 if you don't really want to get the cat skill, or if you're not able to get that. And again, try to go for the Trace skill. It is her best slot B skill. I know you can get the lull skill as well, but Far Trace skills and the Trace skills in general are going to be a lot more rare, so it's going to be the best option because of its value. And Panic Smoke can be run with Broadleaf Fan because the debuffs will stack up upon the debuffs and the penalties of Panic Smoke, so that can give her a lot of good damage output, and Broadleaf Fan is just a strong dagger in general. And then we have got the Pumpkin and Box build. So this is for Ether Raid's offense for Gale Force setup. So as long as she has got 56 or lower HP, she can basically set up Gale Force for her Wings of Mercy allies by engaging in 2 combats. So the recall damage from Pumpkin and Box, which is a Fury Dagger, and Fury 4 is going to be helping you. Now unfortunately you cannot get access to Disarm Trap in Hollow Forms, so the Trace skill again is going to be the best option, but if you run her with Disarm Trap, then it can definitely make it really easy for you to set up Gale Force, and Gale Force is a really good strategy many times for a lot of the oppressive teams, so it can be an option if you want to use her in Ether Raid's offense, and the fact that you can get +1 merch from the Ephemera is just the cherry on top. So these are pretty much going to be the best ways to use Summer Ursula. The final unit that we have in this Hollow Forms is going to be Winter Zephiel, and he's not going to be as popular as Ursula, Nino, or Jaffar, but Loki, in my opinion, he's like a hidden gem on this Hollow Forms because he has got really good bulk and he is quite optimized. So he can run near safe build really well because of his bulk, and we don't have too many sword armor units present in the free-to-play pool. I mean, we have got Arden and Black Knight, and that's pretty much it. And none of them really have as high of a resistance as Zephiel, and they don't really have this kind of balanced bulk. His base kit definitely needs a lot of revamp to function as a safe unit, and as a free-to-play player, if you're really desperate for a near safe tank, then he's actually not that bad of an option, as you'll see later on with my calculations, and that will definitely help you come to a conclusion. So for his best build, you want to run Pledge Blade as the weapon. We don't have too many good like 5-star exclusive swords. Unbound Blade Plus is not that good on an armor unit, so Pledge Blade Plus is basically the best option for you. It does provide you with special acceleration, so it's definitely really helpful for a slow unit like him. And then for the slot A, you want to go with Sturdy Stance 3 and have Slick Fighter. So just with a combination of his weapons, slot A and slot B, you've got special acceleration, you've got the guard effect, and you also have the debuff neutralization. And then you want to run attack defense near save on him. So this is basically going to be his perfect build. And the second best option if you cannot get Sturdy Stance 3 and Slick Fighter is having attack defense unity and having Crafty Fighter, which is pretty much going to be doing the same thing, helping you with debuffs and also giving you the guard effect. So these are pretty much the same kinds of builds for near save, and if you want to use them for near save, then definitely try to get one of these 2 options. And if you want to use him as a far save armor unit, then that's also an option because he does have workable resistance. So again, you want to go with Pledge Blade Plus. We don't exactly have a Pack Booms equivalent for the swords, unfortunately, which is really sad. So you want to go with that and have Distant Counter, obviously, because he wants to function as a far save unit, and have Crafty Fighter. So the guard effect is really helpful because a lot of these mages are going to be running 2-turn specials, and the guard effect is a lifesaver for Zephiel, as you'll see later on. And you of course want to go with Farsiv if you're trying to run Distant Counter on him. I feel like Winter Zephiel functions a lot better as a near save tank than he functions as a far save tank. So these builds can be used in any kind of game mode, honestly, in Arena, in Ether Raids, for the general content, and these are pretty much the best ways of building Zephiel in general. So now let's look over the calculations of him performing as a near save armor unit in the light season. And here are the relevant threats. I actually have a bonus season Note and bonus season Hell available, just to make it a bit harder for him. So he does pretty good job, honestly. He deals with Legendary Seaguard, he also deals with Note, and he can also deal with Fallen Needle Guard to a decent degree. And despite the Weapon Strangle disadvantage, he still does a good chunk to Eldigan. Eliwood is not going to be doing much damage to him, it's just a stalemate, and he can pretty much kill in the player phase. Eliwood has kind of fallen off in Vault of Heaven in my opinion, so he's not going to be that big of a threat, and his lunge is going to be disabled by your near save, so that is really good. So unmerged Winter Zephiel actually performs pretty decently, and you'll be surprised to know that he can give you similar performance to a +10 merge max invested Black Knight, and in some cases it will actually be better for you. Yeah, so here you can see the calculations regarding this Black Knight. Now the problem with Black Knight is that he's really strong, no doubt about that. Black Luna is really good, especially after the weapon refine. But the problem is that the 2 most common units that you're going to be facing in the light season are going to be Legendary Seaguard and Note. Both of these units have damage reduction skills, so it's incredibly hard for him to one-shot them with his Black Luna. Black Luna does get stopped by a damage reduction skill, so that is really annoying. So he pretty much is forced to run Quick Riposte and let go of some of the bulk if he wants to kill Note, especially Note, because bonus season Note and even outside of the bonus season Note will be living without Quick Riposte. And bonus season Note almost kills him And this is not as good as Winter Zephiel. Winter Zephiel still lives with 27 HP, but Black Knight almost dies, which is really sad to see. I really wish they gave him some kind of Deadeye effect because these damage reduction skills are just so annoying to face. He actually does a much better job against Fallen Edelgard with the Black Luna compared to Winter Zephiel, so that's one matchup that he does better in. But other than that, Winter Zephiel is mostly going to be giving you the same performance even at unmerged, and in some cases like you see with Note, against this kind of bonus season Note, he's going to be living with a lot more HP, and also against Legendary Sigurd. And that's why I said that Winter Zephiel is kind of a hidden gem because he's pretty good near save armor unit compared to how Winter Nino and Winter Jaffar function. And if you wanna see how he functions as a far save armor unit, then he does a decent amount of job. I mean, red color is not that bad, but you're still gonna be having neutral matchup against Dual Lift and also against Legendary Lilina, and still having to take hits from Selena and Reinhardt. Yeah, max invested Resplendent Reinhardt is gonna be quad attacking you. You wanna run Attack Vest Bond if you wanna kill this kind of max invested Reinhardt. If you run Mystic Boost, then you're gonna be missing out the kill, and you also die to Legendary Lilina, so that's a big factor. So he pretty much has to let go of the healing if he wants to do a bit better in some of the matchups. So honestly, he's much better as a near save armor unit than he is as a far save armor unit, because there are not really too many good weapons that can increase his resistance and also his attack at the same time. And not to mention, he has to run Distant Counter in slot A instead of running some kind of other skill which would give him guard or something useful. So this month's Hall of Forms is basically based on the map Battle Before Dawn, and the next month is going to be Sacred Stone. So here's my speculation and educated guesses on what could be possible for the Hall of Forms next month. So we don't have too many options in Sacred Stones, especially for themes. So I think the first one is no-brainer. I mean, I don't really need to explain the connection between Leon, Erica, and Ephraim, especially Mage Erica and Leon, because she is Mage Erica because of Leon. And this could be original Lance Ephraim because in a couple of months, Legendary Ephraim is going to be getting a remix as well as a refine, and the normal version of Ephraim also has access to Flame Segment. So maybe this could be a thing similar to how Oliver came in Hall of Forms before his refine. So this could be possible, and they could even put like a Brave Ephraim here if they want to, but they'll probably take out Myr if they're putting Brave Ephraim. Myr can also be a good option because, you know, she calls Ephraim brother, and she did get captured by Grado, so she does have connection with these characters as well. The second option is a lot more lighthearted, so you could have Summer Joshua filling up the red color, Lute and Laura Shell being the mages filling up the blue and the green color, and because Laura Shell is there, you could also have a colorless unit in Halloween Dozla, and there are really not many options in the colorless pool of Sacred Stones, so they're more than likely gonna skip if they're not gonna be putting Halloween Dozla there. So these are just my speculation. Let me know what you think about them, and I hope you all enjoyed my Forma review. Make sure to share this video with your friends who are trying to build up any of the Forma units present in this month's Hall of Forms. I went in depth and comprehensive about their calculations and how they perform and the best skills for them. And I want to thank all of my YouTube members for their constant support. If you enjoyed, then please be sure to leave a like and a comment, helps me tremendously. And be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as Winter Jaffar after he sees a dual lift coming at his way. So that's it, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.